to Not Your Average Breakdown podcast. I'm Claudia with my uber intelligent co host, Alex, here. Hey, Alex.
Hi, Claudia. Thanks for that introduction. That's very nice of you.
You got it. Alex, I cannot believe it's been a freaking week since we talked about our last topic, the Hollywood strikes.
I know a lot actually has happened since we talked.
Yeah, and so I saw that they ended, and I got to tell you, I felt different hearing about them the final one coming to an end last week. It really it makes a difference when you feel to some degree informed about a current event that comes up or gets resolved. It hits different.
You're 100% correct. I mean, knowledge is power, and what is happening in Hollywood is going to start affecting all of us in one point. And, I don't know if you read their contract, but they didn't really get exactly what they wanted with AI. And so the studios can actually, do more with AI than the actors wanted, and they don't actually have to pay them that much. So that is huge. That is something that is going to come up in all of our professions in the upcoming years.
Well, that's disappointing. I actually didn't know that. And see, here we go. It's just, it's a constant flow of learning here in this space. But no, I mean, it still felt good to catch up last week. And then immediately there was movement on it, which was very cool. But I felt empowered, like you said. And I hope other people, if you haven't listened to that episode, it's episode number 4. Go back and listen to it. There's a lot of really great tidbits about what those strikes this summer, and there were very long strikes, what they were about, and just learn a little about it.
Yeah, it was a very unexpected AI discussion.
Yeah, very unexpected AI discussion, but it keeps popping up everywhere, so I shouldn't even be shocked at this point. Well, anyways, let's get on to an even better topic, and one that my friend here is always super excited to talk about because it's one of her hobbies, which is food. But more specifically, this is about candy, and this, Alex, I don't know too much about it, but I do know that there was this controversy surrounding Skittles that I kind of heard about this fall recently. So, can you tell us a little bit about what this Skittles controversy actually is?
Okay, I am very excited to talk about this because
I know you are.
this is a hot topic in my household, and usually with my friends as well. Clean eating and candy, yes, we all love it, but we have to talk about the safety of the candy. The Halloween just
Mhm.
passed, and I'm sure you have somewhere in your house a jar full of candy, or a bucket at least.
I mean, I literally so I posted to our Instagram. I was just telling you before we got on. My kids got just loads of Skittles, particularly. So it's literally in a holding zone right now. And depending on how this podcast ends, that will determine where that candy goes. If it goes back to their Halloween bags or it goes straight to the garbage.
I
There's
think,
a lot riding on this, I know.
oh, yeah, absolutely. So, this topic I obviously brought up to you because I wanted to discuss it and just bring it not only to your attention, but to our audience, because it's something that we don't talk about enough when it comes to food safety. So the Skittles controversy, or Skittles ban, if you will, started last year, actually. I think last summer, when there was a lawsuit. Someone sued Skittles, trying to pretty much ban them and state that they're unfit for human consumption because they contain an ingredient called titanium dioxide. And that ingredient has been a hot topic within the FDA, within the nutritionist community, healthcare professionals. It is a very controversial ingredient. And recently, Skittles came back into the spotlight because since 2022, the lawsuit that happened, it got dismissed because titanium dioxide is rated as generally safe for consumption by FDA.
Okay.
So last month, state of California introduced a bill where they wanted to ban 5 food ingredients from all food sold in California. Okay, it is one of the most progressive, if you will, legislations that state of California brought when it comes to the food safety. And one of those ingredients was titanium dioxide. However, because the candy industry lobbied very heavily, California ended up taking titanium dioxide out of that legislation. And so they passed the bill and they banned 4 food ingredients: brominated vegetable oil, potassium bromate, propylparaben, and red dye number 3. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about titanium dioxide and why is it so highly controversial. I know it's still not banned. However, the FDA has been actively reviewing it and assessing if it's safe.
The fact that the candy industry got involved concerns me because really they have their own motivations, these big companies. So I don't trust that they got so involved. So I am really interested in hearing separately from them what this ingredient really means.
So, you know from our different discussions that I always say lobbyism is the source of all evil. And
Hmm.
that is really what this one is about, is that whoever donates the most money to these government agencies or political parties, they get to pick how the law is written or what legislation get passed or what we put into our food. Okay. So titanium dioxide is a chemical compound, and I'm going to open up with this and say that it's banned in the European Union and some other countries around the world.
That's not shocking.
Not shocking at all. However, the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, said that the chemical can be safely consumed in small quantities. And I absolutely hate that term, small quantities. And we will talk about that in a second. So, titanium dioxide is a bright white pigment with light scattering properties. And it is used to add brightness or opacity to products and help colors stand out and appear more attractive. So it also prevents products from caking and increases shelf life by preventing UV degradation that cracks and breaks down materials. And you can find titanium dioxide in various products, such as paint, cosmetics, food items like baked goods, white sauces, frosting, sandwich spreads, and candy, including Skittles, where it helps produce the spectrum of hues. Right, so Skittles is very famous for its colors and brightness,
Hmm.
and titanium dioxide helps that. However,
Hmm.
titanium dioxide is also very represented in our toothpaste, our skincare, and our cleaning products. So previously I said, the FDA said that this chemical can be safely consumed in small quantities.
Hmm.
Those quantities add up when this chemical is literally in everything we touch.
Right. You just name like 5 different things, like that are completely separate of each other that contain this ingredient.
Exactly. So it is literally found in makeup that we use, in toothpaste. I mean, I had to really struggle to find a toothpaste that didn't have titanium dioxide. But it's also pretty much in any food that you buy at the grocery store. And so that really adds up. And so that's the real issue, that we're consuming this chemical that, yes, it might be generally safe for consumption in small quantities, but we don't consume it in small quantities. However, The candy industry lobbied and they got their way. California took it out. But this is also something that I want to stress is that because titanium dioxide is banned in the European Union, where Skittles is also sold. So Skittles produces without titanium dioxide. So they have a formula, they have a recipe that they're producing and selling in other countries, but in the US, they don't.
That's not the first time I've heard something like that because I've heard that, McDonald's makes their French fries differently over there. This is not new news but it still doesn't make you feel good to know that they are engineering cleaner products for different countries than they are here. It's actually infuriating.
It is. It really is. And some other companies, like their competitors, they removed titanium dioxide, like Swedish Fish.
Oh, that makes me so happy because I love Swedish fish.
Oh God, that is gross.
If that was one, if if I were on a desert island and I had to bring with me one candy, it'd be Swedish fish.
Seriously, from all the candy that's
Yep.
out there,
Yeah.
Swedish Fish will be the one.
Yeah, bitch. That's what I choose.
Okay, I I have no comment to that. So, okay, how about Sour Patch Kids?
Eh,
No. Okay, well,
no,
it's safe
too
titanium.
sour.
Okay, safe from titanium dioxide, but I'm not really sure about their coloring and
But, but
all the.
but that's good because my kids actually like that. So
Yeah, I actually like Sour Patch Kids, so
that makes sense. Sour and sweet. That exactly encompasses who you are.
explains my main personality.
Exactly one of your maybe some of your
Yeah,
personalities.
that is, just a little bit background about titanium dioxide.
So Alex, can you tell me what are the potential health concerns with this ingredient? I mean, have there any been proven it's been linked to something or multiple things?
The concerns are that titanium dioxide could actually accumulate in your body and alter your DNA. So, in animal studies, the substance appears to affect digestive microorganisms and it can provoke diseases like intestinal and bowel inflammation and also some type of cancer. It doesn't mean that titanium dioxide is carcinogen, but it means that there is a possibility that can be damaging to human health and potentially cause cancer if we're not consuming small quantities as prescribed by FDA. So just the fact that
Right.
there is this ingredient that is everywhere where we look and that we're constantly consuming it, titanium dioxide is not the only ingredient that we have exposure to. There is so
Mhm.
many other ones, like the 4 ingredients that California banned last month. And so I want to tell you a little bit about those ingredients that they banned in just in state of California. So that means that the companies that use these 4 ingredients have to rewrite their recipe by 2027.
I love that. I mean, it's a small win, but it's a win anyways, you know?
Absolutely. So the first ingredient that California banned is brominated vegetable oil, or BVO. It's actually a vegetable oil that is modified with a chemical compound called bromine. It is currently allowed to be used in small amounts in the production of citrus flavored drinks. It is specifically used to keep the citrus flavoring from separating and floating to the top of the beverages. In 2013, for example, PepsiCo announced that it would remove BVO from Gatorade, and in 2014, Coca-Cola and PepsiCo said that they are intending to remove BVO from all of their beverages, right? So 10 years ago, companies started noticing that this might not be the best ingredient to keep in the sodas or beverages, and so they slowly started removing it. Like in the case with titanium dioxide, this ingredient is banned in Europe and Japan, but it's still allowed in the US, and it's found primarily now in smaller store brand soft drinks. So the issue with this ingredient has been raised literally for decades, since the 70s. During the study in 1976, it was found that consumption of BVO in pigs damaged their hearts, kidneys, livers, and testicles. In a more recent study in 2022, it was specifically cited that by the FDA that rats given BVO had accumulations of BVO's derivatives in their heart, liver, and fat. So, in this study done in collaboration with National Institute of Health, which is another government agency, they found that BVO led to changes in the thyroid cells growing larger and increasing the production of the thyroid stimulating hormone. So this hits very close to home for me, as someone who struggles
Yep.
with thyroid issues. It is banned again in Europe and Japan, still legal in the US.
Of course it is.
So the next ingredient, potassium bromate, a chemical additive commonly used in the food industry to help strengthen dough and enhance the texture of baked goods. So it is added to the bread, rolls, or any other baked goods to make them rise higher and have more uniform texture. So this ingredient is classified as a possible human carcinogen by the International Agency for Research on Cancer, meaning it may increase cancer risk in humans. This ingredient has been found to increase risk of cancer in animals and act as a free radical, causing oxidative damage in lab studies with human liver and intestinal cells.
I hate the C word.
But I'm really not trying to scare you. I'm more trying to inform you and educate you.
What's hitting home is the small doses. Right? But we're not just talking one exposure here. We're talking like this multiple exposure span against so many products that it's concerning. It's so concerning listening to this.
It is, I that last year or this whole year actually I have been going through health issues, and I have been reading a lot and trying to figure out like, okay, what is actually wrong with me. So I had a lot of intestinal issues, gut issues, inflammations, and I just couldn't figure out what is happening. And so one of the things that I did was a detox diet. The whole purpose of the diet was to eat anti-inflammatory foods, but also whole foods, because Americans eat very highly processed diet that is causing so many health issues for us, not just cancer, but diabetes and thyroid issues, cancer, a wide spectrum of diseases that we're constantly exposed to because of our highly processed diet. And, we buy stuff in the grocery store for the convenience of it, right? It's you buy something in a box, you pop it in the microwave, it's done in 5 minutes, but you pay the price for that. When I did a 21-day detox diet, all of my issues that I had literally went away. And that was like my first sign that the food that I'm consuming is triggering me, that there is something that it doesn't agree with my body. I make everything, like a lot of things are homemade in this household, and I barely buy processed food anymore.
I'm so glad that you are the type of person that enjoys cooking and it gets really creative with it, because you know you enjoy that kind of stuff, so it's really a tool for you in the situation you are in with your health struggles, that like it was very easy and made sense for you to just, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to detox from everything else and make everything from scratch. I mean, like, you've been working on your own recipes for bread and other things, that you can know exactly what ingredient is going in there and how you can work it to remove certain things but still have the taste and the texture. So you're very lucky that you're blessed with creativity and the talent to cook, because me, I'm like Miss Air Fryer over here, and if I went through the struggles that you did, it'd be a lot harder to try to figure this out. But because you have that skill set, I feel like this has really been a great tool for you to figure out ways to help yourself in this situation.
Everybody can do the same. I don't expect everybody to try to recreate recipes and cook all day. That is just something that I personally enjoy. I have been enjoying it for years. You know that I love to bake and I love to cook and try new recipes. So for me, cooking and figuring out new diet restrictions and everything has been almost like healing. I have been dairy free and gluten free for a couple of months now, since I have been diagnosed with Hashimoto's. I am like on this mission to recreate my favorite recipes that are gluten free and dairy free, but not everybody can do that, and I don't expect people, like, that's not what we're preaching here, right?
No.
But it's really the informed choices, the consumer informed choices, where if you buy more whole foods, if you buy more fresh produce, if you buy rice in a big bag and then cook it at home rather than buying instant rice, that can make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're cooking meals at home or meal prepping, as both of us do, you are limiting the exposure.
Right.
So when you actually do, go out and eat a fast food meal, or you go to a restaurant where they, no matter how high end the restaurant is, that food is usually not the healthiest because they use a lot of butter or oil, inflammatory oils. But then you're truly exposed only to small amounts and quantities.
Mm-hmm.
And then it is safe for consumption, right? Because you're limiting your own exposure.
Right.
Because at home, where you eat a lot of meals, you're not exposed to all of these ingredients that are potentially toxic and damaging for your health.
And that's why we need to know about these things again. So, did you cover all of the 4 that California banned? Did we
So
go?
I have two
Okay.
more.
What were the other 2?
The third one is propylparaben. So it's a form of a paraben, and it's a preservative. It's used in food, pharmaceuticals, and personal care products. And paraben mimics estrogen and can act as a potential hormone or endocrine system disruptor. We've seen in recent years a lot of products now are claiming that they're paraben free, and this is what it means, that they're not using any synthetic preservatives who are known to be in endocrine disruptors.
Mm.
And of course, it is banned in Europe. One of the issues that I have with parabens is that there is a research that was done by Harvard University, and they found that exposure to this paraben is actually associated with low fertility. And the last ingredient is red dye number 3, or FDNC red dye number 3.
I feel like I've heard of this one before, but I can't specifically know about it.
This is pretty much in any food that has color. So it's a synthetic food coloring. This is the irony of this ingredient. So the FDA recognizes red dye number 3 as carcinogen,
Okay.
but it is literally lurking in hundreds of candies, cakes, and other foods.
It hasn't been banned.
It has not been banned in the US. It has been banned in state of California
Just in
as of
California.
recent. So just in California. This goes back to the top of our episode where we talked about Halloween candy. So red dye number 3 is very much present in all the Halloween seasonal candy. This food dye was actually banned from use in cosmetics and topical drugs way back in 1990. But because of some heavy lobbying from actually the maraschino cherry industry, FDA never followed up on banning it from the use in food. So the study was done, and it was confirmed that it's a carcinogen, but the companies lobbied. Essentially, day one, FDA never banned it in food. It's roaming free in the US food supply.
Well, looks like I need to take another dive into the Halloween candy and filter that out.
Yes, I would highly suggest that.
So I found out the other day that the FDA does not have the authority to tell these big companies to pull a product off the shelf. They can make a recommendation to them, but they cannot force them to remove a product off the shelf.
That is correct, but the FDA can ban ingredients.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay. Okay.
that is
Okay. That's a big piece of information there.
exactly. So yes, FDA cannot tell, a certain company, hey, you should do this or that. However, the FDA is supposed to do research and studies on ingredients and then label them as safe or unsafe.
Well,
And
sure.
when they do label them as unsafe, then they should actually make it a law where this ingredient is banned from the US. And we talked about this a few days ago about a couple of eyeshadow palettes that were really not supposed to be eyeshadow palettes, a few different brands, a very known brands, makeup brands, who falsely claimed that they were safe to use around the eyes when they in reality they were not. And that's the thing with these dyes, that they're synthetic, they're impure, we don't know what they're contaminated with, and they can cause allergies, irritations, they're carcinogens. This specifically two products that you and me discussed, the eyeshadow palettes or color palettes as they call them, they were on the market for months until somebody, a consumer, actually turned the palette around and read the ingredients and was like, hey, this color is actually banned in the US for the use around the eyes, and they sue the company. So this is what we're talking about. Even if the FDA says like, hey, this ingredient is banned in the US, companies find their way around. But what really bothers me is that we know that these ingredients are banned in European Union. Some of them are banned in Japan, in India, in Australia. So, all around the world, there is plenty of study and research done where these countries decided to ban these ingredients because they're not safe for human consumption. But in the US, because we have lobbyism where other countries don't, this is the problem that we have.
I mean, it's like nobody's paying attention. I mean, how that product was made and still in plain sight printed on the label, an ingredient that was banned. It's astonishing. I mean, but also it brings up the question when you say that they can ban an ingredient, like who is doing the studies on whether or not the ban should happen? Is it the FDA? Or is it these private companies that are doing their own studies and proving, hey, see, it's safe. Here's my research when it's all biased and inaccurate.
So it's a mix, and I'm glad you brought this up. FDA doesn't conduct research completely independently, but these universities, like I said, Harvard University, John Hopkins,
Okay.
um, all different organizations, environmental working groups, they pay for the studies and then they present the findings. And that's why the FDA is very, conservative when it comes
Hmm.
to banning ingredients. They might issue a warning and might say, hey, don't use this around your eyes or don't, ingest this. In the case of red dye number 3, they banned it in cosmetics. So this cannot be used in any cosmetics products, but it can be consumed as, in food, which to me makes no
Right.
sense, but God knows what kind of allergies and irritations it was causing on the skin,
Right.
where they didn't find the same to happen when you actually ingest the dye. So it's really, there is no good answer to, okay, well, who's right,
Hmm.
who's not. It's really who has more money.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Who has more money to donate to the cause that they're passionate
Yeah.
about.
And we know it's usually the big money makers. Uh,
Oh,
so let me ask you
absolutely.
this: is Has the company that I don't even know who makes Skittles, is it Mars?
I think so, yes.
Um, did they have any plan to remove this ingredient, or are they just owning it and going with it?
So, when it comes to Skittles, they actually said that they're going to, or Mars, I should say, they said that they're going to stop using titanium dioxide. They said that like in 2016, that by 2020 or 2021, they're going to be titanium dioxide free, and that hasn't happened. Now they're going to have to change some of the stuff for their California sales, but titanium dioxide is still in Skittles and it's not banned, so they're just gonna keep doing what they're doing. They are not going to stop producing it just because there's, you know, some talk in the news. It might blow over, and people might get distracted and find another thing to be outraged about. And so
Mm.
they're really banking on not having to worry
Wow.
about changing their formula because it costs money. But a lot of these formulas, exist for their European market. So I don't really think that they need a lot of research and development.
Well, that is a sad state of our country for sure,
It
because
is.
this has been well known for a while that, there's definitely there's a different standard for the US and there's a different standard for the other countries. So, and there's no end in sight that I can see, for this. So what we have to do is just be more diligent and more informed about what we're putting in our bodies. So are there resources? What resources are there if we want to know, about the food that we're putting into our bodies? Is there something easy that breaks this stuff down?
There are a couple of resources that I personally use. I'm just going to put this out there that we're not sponsored by anybody, but I use EWG, which is Environmental Working Group. So it's ewg.org.
Mhm.
They are one of the largest environmental organizations in the US who have been fighting for the food safety, or just, product safety in general. It's not just food, it's pretty much, anything. And they also have their own certification. So if you see that a product is EWG verified, that means that it's certified clean. They also have an app, so it's very convenient to use them. I use them all the time when I go grocery shopping. Um,
This is the app that you had me download for makeup, correct?
yes, correct.
Okay, and it's got the rating like 1 to 10, 1 being what's the level for 1?
So if the company is, or the product is not EWG certified, then number one is like the best. That's what you want. You want to
Mhm.
stay
It's
within one
safe.
and two.
Basically, 1
Yes,
is safe. Yep.
yes, but always read ingredients. I use that, EWG app for pretty much all makeup that I use, and I use it for research as well. So, just because something is rated one, please look at the ingredients in case you have an allergy or reaction to something. You know exactly, what you're buying. But they are very user friendly, and they explain the ingredients and how they rate them and why. And it's a really good app. I really enjoy it.
It makes it really easy. I've used it for makeup because you were telling me about it, and it's EWG Healthy Living if you want to download it and make your life a little easier and be in the know about. I didn't know you could use it for food, which is awesome because I've already got it downloaded, but it's super user friendly, super easy, super quick and convenient because, we're putting things in our body and on our body every day. So if you want to do a quick search and see if the product's in there, all the info is at your fingertips and you may not understand what certain things are, but what's a 1 as opposed to what's a 10 and everything in between.
So there is another app. I think it's called Trash Panda.
Is that real?
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
What?
Um,
I think I've called people trash pandas before, but I didn't know it was
you definitely
it
did.
was actually an app. That's amazing.
So yeah, it's an app. It's similar. It helps you sort of decode food labels, and they have their own specific list of ingredients. I think that that they find unacceptable, or however you want to call it. So they're a good resource as well. And then if you're on Instagram, I follow this woman. Her name is Tasha, and her Instagram handle is wellness.homemade. She is a certified nutritionist, and she makes a lot of good videos about food safety. She goes to any grocery store you can think of, and she gives you like worst to best choices.
Mm,
And her whole thing is exactly what we talked about. It's informed choices. It's not about, you know, um, fearing food and fearing eating
mm,
and grocery shopping. It's about education. It's about choosing the majority of your food and products to be clean. Then, when you actually get exposed to ingredients such as titanium dioxide or brominated vegetable oil, your body can easily, process that because it's a small
right.
quantity.
Right. You're minimizing the exposure.
Exactly. And so she does a really good job. I have been following her for almost a year now, and I took so much advice from her.
See, the information's out there at our fingertips. We need to make better choices for ourselves. And once you know this stuff and it's put in front of you, you can't ignore it. So now, what do you do about it? You easily can do something and mitigate your risk and bringing on all these health concerns by just downloading this app and starting to care about, ingredients and reading what's actually in your product.
It's easier now than ever to actually do the research because the information is out there, and I understand that information may be clouded, with mixed research and mixed articles out there because this is really a money game. But you have the tools. It's very
Hmm.
easy to research and see, well, okay, what are these chemicals? What do they do? Why are they in this product? Like one thing that I love about Native, when you were in my house, you used their body wash.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you paid attention, like when you turn the bottle, it lists all the ingredients, and it literally tells you what the ingredient does.
Oh,
And it is such a good, not just marketing strategy, but educational
yes.
strategy as well,
I
because,
love that.
they claim that they're clean, but okay, what do the ingredients actually say? And sometimes they name these ingredients, you have no clue what they
No,
are.
no, I don't even
And
know why it's in there.
exactly. And so they actually list exactly what the ingredients are and what they do. It's like a little table instead of, like, oh, ingredients,
That's
whatever.
cool.
So,
I like
and
that.
for me, that is like such a good brand strategy because like when I grabbed it and I read it, I'm like, oh wow, this is actually so good. Like
Yeah,
I
I get
actually
it. Yes.
yeah, I know exactly why you put this in it and what it does.
Hmm.
And they have no dirty ingredients. They explain everything, and it's just so good. And I feel like more brands should start doing that,
Then maybe they
where
will.
maybe. But a lot of brands don't want to do it because they're not clean and they have maybe shady practices, and God knows how they source the ingredients. That's also a thing.
Well, it takes the one that first starts that ball rolling, and you just hope that more people just get in that bandwagon and keep it going. I mean, I don't think in the future that society will allow once that information keeps gaining traction that will allow, anything but transparency. We're
I hope
demanding it,
so.
you know?
Oh, I have a last thing for you. I can, if you want to hear some products that are going to be affected in California.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that.
I have only few. This is the list so far that has been made uh, online. It was actually done by EWG. And the first one is Hostess Ding Dongs, which I didn't personally care about, but this one, the second one is going to be really tough one to say. It's Peeps Marshmallow.
Why are you? Is that
I
a?
love Peeps
You
Marshmallows.
do? Wouldn't thought that about you.
It is probably, so we don't have marshmallow like that in Serbia where I grew up. And when I moved to United States, my first one that I saw was for Easter. It was 2014
Okay.
and it was Easter and there were like, little birds and I was just so obsessed. I probably OD'd on Peeps Marshmallow
Oh
that
my
summer.
God.
All right, candy corn.
Ugh, that should be trashed.
I don't know why that candy exists.
I don't know.
Del Monte fruit cups. You
Oh,
don't have.
okay.
I don't know if you
Yeah,
had that.
I've purchased them before for my sons.
Yeah, don't anymore. Sara Lee cinnamon rolls and honey glazed buns.
No, we make our own Cinnabons over here, honey.
Oh, this is probably going to be very tough for the military community because we survive on these things. Betty Crocker red decorating icing.
So,
You don't bake,
no,
so
I
and
don't
I don't
bake.
I
You're
don't use
right.
icing, so I don't really care.
Mhm.
And then some of the sodas like Sundrop, Orangeette, Stars and Stripes.
We don't drink soda in this house.
Yeah, neither do we. And then some baked goods made by Auntie Annie or Auntie Anne.
Now, this is the stuff that California banned, right? That's what it would
Yes.
affect. Okay, okay.
So exactly. So starting in 2027, this is
Mhm.
the products, some of the products that are going to be affected. Auntie Anne's aren't those pretzels in the mall?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're going to have to change their recipe.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever had them though.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I think like I don't recall.
Oh my God, I used to kill those things.
You're a
But
changed woman now. You are
I
a changed
know
woman. Well, Alex, thank you. Thank you for doing all the research again. Once again, this obviously everything that we've talked about tonight impacts us all. And you know the fate. I think you know the fate of those Skittles that are sitting on my counter right now.
that is what I was going to ask. What
I
is
think you
going to
know.
happen to the Skittles?
It's got a special place in the
You're making the
trash.
right choice. I have a couple of brands. I'll send them to you in a message after we're done. Better brands that you
Okay.
can
Well, and
give
if
to your
anybody
kids.
else wants to know, you should email us. Email us at nyabpodcast@gmail. We love emails. We love questions. We love suggestions. We love to hear from you. So definitely on that note, like Alex just said, if you want to know more, because she's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to food, because as she mentioned before, she's gone through her own health struggles. So she's especially knowledgeable in this topic. Please send them in.
Yes, and add us on Instagram at NYAB Podcast and do the same. You can send us your suggestions or questions. I really don't want to endorse more products because we're not getting paid by them.
And we wouldn't endorse
Um,
anything that we
yep,
truly didn't stand behind. And don't forget to subscribe to our channels on Apple and Spotify. This would get you any notifications when our new episodes are released because sometimes they come out in the morning or evening, but you want to know when they come out so you can get to listening. Well, everybody, thank you so much again for sticking with us. And we so look forward to talking with you next week.
thanks, Claudia. Bye, everyone.
Bye.